beautiful souls, welcome to Malaology. I am Teresa, Doctor of Metaphysics and OG mala maker, here to help you take care of your mala. Do you have a mala that has kind of a matted tassel that looks kind of like it has dreadlocks? Or do your knots maybe have a little bit of staining? Do you just want to condition your beads and make sure that you're taking really good care of your mala? Well, stay tuned and I'll walk you through the simple 4-step process that I use for cleaning, caring for, and reconditioning your mala so it comes out looking like new. All right, so I have, the first thing I did, because obviously this was really gross, it was caked in mustard, so I ran it under some warm water, lukewarm water, and I brushed it with my little nail brush here. This is a soft bristle nail brush, and I got the tassel as well as I wanted to at the time, and then I got between the beads, not super carefully, but you know, I just kind of gave it the once over all the way down the strand like this. All right, so let's just do it really quick here. Making sure it's great with a soft bristle nail brush like this because it gets the knots without stretching your mala, right? All right, so then we're going to wash it with some soap. I use Ethic soap or Ethique. It's actually a shampoo. This is a bar of shampoo. How much better is it to get your shampoo in a bar so you don't have to use bottles? And it's kind on the environment, and it's also kind on your mala. It's very, very gentle, obviously no sulfates or any of that other stuff. And this one, I'm going to put a link in case you're curious about it, because this particular one is for oily hair. So it gets out the oils out of your beads, out of your tassel, out of the knots in between. We are going to condition your mala, or this mala at the end. We're going to add a little bit of oil, anointing it after it's all clean. But we have this very, very, very mildly soapy water. I don't know if you can see the suds, but it doesn't take a lot to get some suds from the shampoo. So I get the water. I don't know if you can see. It's a little cloudy now because the Ethique is in there. And I'm going to soak these beads for about 15 minutes, all right? So I've scrubbed off the grime, the dirt, and now I'm soaking it in a mildly soapy solution. If your knots are white or off-white and your mala's gotten dirty from wearing it to work, or you have dogs that, you know, always you're petting them and it kind of rubs off on the mala. You know, I see malas get legitimately dirty all the time. Just use a little bit more of the shampoo and soak it for a little bit longer. This is not for silk malas. Silk malas will rot, they will stretch, they will fray, especially if being handled this way. This is for malas that are made with nylon or hemp or cotton or something like that, all right? Hemp will stretch, but it's not going to rot and fray. So there you go. This is mostly for nylon knots and cotton tassels because my shop is vegan and I think all malas should be vegan. All right, so I'll meet you back in 15 minutes when this is done soaking. All right, guys, our mala has soaked for a while, so we've gotten off the grime and we've soaked it. Now I'm going to put it into lukewarm, clear water. All right, we're going to let this soak for another 15 minutes at the most. It doesn't really need to soak that long. We just want to make sure that that tassel and the knots are every now and then agitated as well. All right, get all the soap out of there. Make sure that they're clean of the soap. And you may need to, depending on how much soap you use. Now, I did not use very much soap at all, but I'll tell you, I did run this under the faucet again, under lukewarm water as well, all right? But just depending on how much soap that you used to soak your beads in, you may have to soak it for a little bit longer or run it under some running water, but really you do want to agitate it a little bit. And every now and then, squeeze your tassel, all right? Squeeze the water out of it, and then I'll get a little bit more, and squeeze the water out of it, and a little bit more, all right? And then I'll meet you in another 15 minutes. All right, guys, now our mala is getting much, much happier, all right? The beads are very, very clean. The knots in between are very, very clean. I have basically taken a clean sackcloth, laid the tassel on there, and squeezed it to get as much excess water out as possible. All right. And then I look at the sackcloth. If there's, if it comes out looking pure white like it does, I know that I've gotten my tassel clean. If there's any kind of color at all on the sackcloth, I will repeat steps 1 and 2 with the tassel only. So I will soak it in a little bit more soapy water. I'll shampoo it a little bit with my hand, and then I'll soak it in clean water, agitating it a little bit, running it under the faucet, right? And then again, I will squeeze the water out of the tassel with the sackcloth to make sure that the sackcloth is pure white and that the tassel looks very, very clean. All right. So now we know our mala is very, very clean. What I'm going to do is hit the tassel. I know it's weird, okay? But it loosens up the strings on the tassel a little bit because, we do have this dreadlocks. We are going to address that, but we want to make sure that it's able to dry evenly, and the way to do that is to kind of separate it as much as possible. All right, we will address the matting tomorrow, but we're going to lay this out for 24 hours so that it can dry completely. We don't want to be combing the tassel or anointing the beads until they're dry. So if you are so inclined, if you're able to do so, I would lay this out in the sun. All right, I'd lay it out in the sun for a full day, and then if you have an auspicious full moon or new moon, keep it out all night long so that it can benefit from the rays of the moon. A lot of people think that just because it's a full moon or a new moon, that would be great for setting intentions and putting your beads out to absorb the moonlight. Not so much. If it's not an auspicious moon, you could do more harm than good. The moon has energy, right? The cosmos have energy. So just pay attention, tune in to your favorite YouTube astrologer or whatever. And just pay attention. But another misconception I want to address is the sunlight. A lot of people think that sunlight can be damaging to certain stones. And yes, if left out for long periods of time, something like, say, turquoise could be affected by the sunlight, but it would have to be stored out in the sunlight, not just left out for a day in the sunlight. So if you're able to leave your beads to dry outside in the beautiful sunlight to charge them up, then I encourage you to do that. Either way, I'll see you in 24 hours and we'll fluff up our tassel and anoint our beads. All right, guys, now we've let our mala dry completely for a day. I'll admit I did not put mine outside. It's winter time in Michigan. It would have literally frozen solid within 5 minutes if I had done that. So I put it in front of a heat register, right? So if you have a heat source and it's cold outside, put it in front of a heat source and it'll help to speed up the drying process. Now you can see we still have this very, very severe matting, all right? And there's little particles inside there. We're going to do our best to get those particles out. This I happen to know is organic cotton. What that means, sometimes when I get this, this bundled cotton close to the source or organic, there are little fibers that it comes in, and I can just pull them out with tweezers sometimes, or I'll use tape to get it out. All right. But first, before we can even do that, we really need to comb this tassel a little bit more. I'm using a regular plastic hair comb, the kind of hair comb that holds your hair back. If you're a girl, you know what I'm talking about. All right. So we're going to do this a few times, all right? But we've started the process. We have our little white sackcloth here, all right? So you can see at the end, there are some loose fibers that are just kind of coming out of the cotton. Again, this is a cotton tassel. You do not want to do this with a silk tassel. You don't want to do this with a nylon tassel or a hemp tassel either, because it's not made for that. All right. Also, a lot of tassels these days are made with cotton floss. They would not do well with this either, right? Cotton floss it's like little strings of cotton or like teeny little yarn pieces of cotton, that would fray terribly if you did that with this. So this is only for bundled cotton like I'm using here, okay? So we're going to do this one more time. You can see already it's starting to, let's see, it's starting to get a lot neater. So this is a great way to maintain your tassel. I see a lot of people, I don't know how, I'm not judging, I love you all, but you can only wear your tassel for a month and it will get all like dreadlocks, and I don't understand that because I wear my malas all the time and that doesn't happen to mine. So whatever you're doing, this does not take any length off of the tassel, and you could do this as often as you want to, all right? Just comb it and trim the very end. All right, you can see that the end is very neat now, right? Kind of like a clean haircut. And then we're going to use some masking tape. So just take off a little bit of masking tape and make a ring with it, right? And then we're going to get whatever debris we can get off of our tassel with the tape. And we'll probably have to do this a couple times. Black, and I'm using black for a reason. Black shows every little fiber. You see that? Every little fiber. So with dark brown, dark gray, and black, you really, really want to pay attention to this part of it. If you have a lighter tassel, you're not even going to see these lighter these particles in your tassel. They'll just blend right in, or it'll look like little flecks of different color yarn, which looks like it's supposed to be there, you know. All right, so we're going to comb it one more time and trim it one more time. And less is more when you're trimming the bottom of your tassel, unless you want to shorten your tassel, all right? And if you do want to shorten your tassel, check out the next video, because that's what I'll be doing, shortening a tassel. Okay. Now, we have these tweezers. Any little flecks of the lighter fibers in your darker tassel, just come out with some tweezing. Okay. Fun fact, you guys. Like I know I've mentioned a couple times, but I think it's really important when you're using a device that's supposed to be employed for mindfulness and higher vibrations. If you get a mala made with silk, you should know 420 billion to 1 trillion silkworms are boiled alive every year in the production of silk. Sericulture, silk harvest is called sericulture, is one of the cruelest practices on earth today. Okay, silkworms can feel, they do have feelings. It does hurt to be boiled alive. So I recommend that you don't get silk on your mala. Also, I find it interesting that places that employ mostly silk on their malas recommend that you have your malas restrung every 6 months to a year, and that's because silk will rot, stretch, and fray. Okay. All right. we've got our tassel nice and clean, our mala nice and clean, right? We want to grab a little bottle of oil. I have nag champa mixed with olive oil, right? I just poured a few drops in my hand like this, probably, 5 to 6 drops, just enough to really moisten your hands here. Now, we're not anointing our tassel, we're anointing our beads, all right? So it's okay if you get a little bit on your tassel, because remember, we're able to get it out with the shampoo later on, but try to avoid getting it on your tassel for now. So hold your mala from the guru bead and then just rub your beads back and forth in between your oiled fingers. Okay. Now your beads are anointed. All right, so after your beads are oiled, just place them on a paper towel. You can kind of dab like this, just slightly, really. And then again, leave them overnight. Just leave them overnight on the paper towel and let the beads soak in the oil. If you have sandalwood or red raksha, it'll drink it up like it's thirsty. I recommend if you have a sandalwood mala or any kind of wood beads that's not tarnished, right, or finished, do this once every month or once every 3 months, depending on how often you wear your mala and if you get it wet, if you wash your hands while you're wearing it and you have it around your wrist or something like that, okay? So tomorrow morning, come and check your mala and you'll find your beads probably will not have hardly any oily residue, if any at all, right? Especially porous beads. Porous beads will drink it up as well, like turquoise, angelite. Non-porous beads, though, they love to be anointed. This is part of the whole mala thing. All right, guys, now I want to wear this mala as a wrist mala, not as a necklace, all right? So I'm wrapping it around my wrist, but look, it's too small for me to get it on my hand 4 times, right? And obviously too large for 3 times. So check out the next video for the proper way to stretch your mala for wrapping and how to wrap a mala as a bracelet, all right? And check me out at Malaology.com if you would like me to make your mala just for you and your intentions. Mala blessings, love, and light.